So I find the Toyota MR2 worth the money we've put into it because it's got a drive like nothing else you can get on the market. Be careful when you have people over to your house. Selling some Porsche 911 wheels this winter, and the wheel went right into the car. This was a huge dent, but after about 30-40 minutes of work, my buddy at the dealership, a good friend of mine, was able to slowly pull this out. It's getting better and better. He's still gonna work on it, but we've put so much work into this vehicle. Let me know what you think should be the next modification, what we should do with the vehicle next. I've debated many times putting back the originals here. Let me know if you like those air scoops. It's running a little warm, so we might need to add fans inside to the top of that. We're running a standalone computer on this. We've redone the suspension. We've had this dynoed. We've painted this side of the car. Let me know if you think, should we go with the newer JDM lights or leave this all original? The newer JDM lights also comes with a bar here. We got this repainted. This side of the vehicle hasn't been repainted. So let me know if you think this is a vehicle worth repainting. What would you do? Also, you know, the front bumper pretty badly needs to be painted, but I've thought about putting back the fog lights that are actually directional. Very cool if they can fit, because as you can see, we threw on a much bigger cooler there. The radiator's behind that, so maybe the radiator needs to be swapped or have fans added to it. In the comments, drop what your guess is. We're gonna buy the shroud because that just looks awful. You can still get, not the original shaft shroud, but you can get 3D printed shroud. You've got the seats. I've debated recovering those, but right now that center console is pretty nasty. We can either try fixing it up, sanding it down and repainting it, or buying that actual piece, but then we'd have 3 gauge holes and it runs for about $500. So do we continue to put money into this, or do we put money into another car? I've got my eye on a few vehicles, and there's always the debate whether we put money into this or the 1999 Porsche 911. Let me know what you think, what interests you more on the channel. Are you more interested in 911 content? Maybe a new a new Ford Mustang, a type of Ford Mustang content? Or if you like the videos where, you know, we take old cars and we slowly take them from essentially scrap yard condition to new vehicle-ish condition. Also been debating a possible big brake conversion. So Willwood makes big disc, or you take the discs off a Toyota Supra and you throw on the Willwood 4-piston brakes. Been debating whether we upgrade to that, or if we do just much higher quality pads and put on steel brake lines. Because obviously if you're gonna go fast, you wanna also be able to brake fast. But do we put the money into the Toyota MR2, into the Porsche 911, or a bit of both, and get a whole new project, a Ford, either a Ford Mustang or some sort of special Ford? So I'd love to know what you all think in the comments section. If you have been watching the Toyota MR2 content, if it interests you in any way whatsoever. Now let's go take this on the road, because driving it is absolutely incredible. Having a rear engine or mid-engine platform is really worthwhile. So let's put the pedal to the metal. All right, taking out this JDM Classic. I think they're worth keeping on the road, and I think the Toyota MR2 is a great one to have because it's one that hasn't gotten a whole lot of attention. So you're not gonna go to car meets or enthusiast shows and see a ton of these. You'll actually see very few. The parts are still readily you can get parts for it. A little harder to find transmission parts if it's the turbo model, because there were even less turbo models. You can find a replacement transmission, but pretty common that the synchros start to go. And I have the synchro in 4th gear that's starting to go, but it's the only gear, and it's the synchro because if I double clutch, then there's no grinding. If I don't double clutch and shift quickly, there's a good amount of grinding, and if I do a slow shift, there's barely any grinding. So it's a good indicator that we've got a synchro. The fact that the power steering sometimes works, sometimes doesn't, that the battery's lit up, it's a good indicator that we've got either a ground issue on the vehicle or that we need a new alternator that's just starting to go. So I'll have those looked at. And I'm very curious as to whether we've got an issue here, whether we've got an issue with the radiator, and that's why we're running a little hot, or if it's just air bubbles. This thing's been bled twice, so quite curious what's gonna go on here. But now that it's been to the dyno, now that it has a replaced engine, it's going well. It's going well, it's fun to drive. It's more than just fun to drive, it's one of the funnest to drive. It's not the fastest, but just between the blow off and the acceleration and it's so light. It's hard to describe. It's very light, it's agile, it's precise. If you've driven a go-kart, you've got a good idea. This is like a huge go-kart, a little bit like a motorcycle. It's a really cool setup. So much slower than the Shelby GT350. But on a positive note, you can have a lot of fun at slow speeds. Most of the fun you're gonna have is at slow speeds because the fun isn't in the acceleration. Because there's not a whole lot of wow, you know, if you've had fast cars before, this isn't gonna be that fast car. This is gonna be that car that's really fun to drive around, do a mountain road, and, you know, just shift through the gears. It's not a, you know, it's not a sprint car. It's more of like a marathon car, a car you're gonna have fun driving for miles, whether it's just in town between, you know, stops. But this really is at its best on a mountainous road. Just remember, don't suddenly brake in a turn. That'll have the rear end's weight possibly shift to the front and have the back go where the nose is supposed to be, and that's not a good thing. That was it. Miles per gallon, which yeah, I need gas. That's before you go to the mechanic. Leave them your car with a full tank of gas so they can properly test it, because another issue this is having is on cold start, especially if it's cold out. You can't just give it the beans. It'll just kind of choke out. So it needs a bit of dyno work, programming done for low speed, cold driving, cold starts. It needs to be just fine-tuned for that cold start. When you get in and start driving, but do be prepared. If you get an older vehicle, be prepared to have problem after problem and be at the mechanics often. And that's why I got this car. One of the reasons I got this car for the channel is to give you a realistic portrayal. I find a lot of the classic car channels and a lot of the classic car talk, even when you go to car shows, like the cars look perfect and everyone's like, oh yeah, it's amazing, it's perfect. Like, well, brakes aren't like modern vehicles, the acceleration isn't like modern vehicles. You'll probably be often at the mechanics. That's the reality of it. This has had several engines. The original blue, it got replaced. That blue, it got replaced. That blue, and now we're on this one. But this one's been properly dynoed. I'm not worried about it. Perfect Tuning has done an amazing job, and that's why I'm going back to them yet again. Great service, very knowledgeable. They always do what I ask them, and then they, you know, will mention, oh, well, you know, we noticed this and this. And, you know, they don't just go ahead and do it and then give me a huge bill. So now we're addressing the further issue of these lights in the dash. But hey, today we've got power steering. We usually have power steering, but when we don't, good thing it's a light car. 15 PSI. So to get the 15 PSI, we could have just stuck with the original computer, but because we did bigger piping on everything from intake, intercooler, exhaust, all piping is bigger. We've got the coil on pack, ignition system. So yeah, we have a standalone computer. Is it worth it? No, in hindsight, just leaving the car stock and touching nothing probably would have been best. Or adding 2 PSI and just adjusting accordingly could have been really good as well. But this motor now has a metal head gasket. It's got ARP head studs. And with 2 extra PSI, we're running a really reliable, somewhat more fun setup. But with all the extra hardware, we set up the hardware so that we could run more, 20 PSI. But in doing so, you then definitely need to run better fuel pump, fuel rail, just take care of the whole fuel issue. And I just want a really reliable setup. I want a car that can be fun enough to drive, fast enough, that doesn't have to have 600 horsepower or even 500 horsepower. Heck, when it's this light, I've had this at 350 horsepower before, and it was really, really, really quick because power to weight ratio is crucial. And we're looking at, we're about, it's supposed to be at the halfway mark for temperature on the gauge, and we're almost halfway between middle and top. So it's just running hotter than it should. And for overall long term, you don't want the motor running too cold, because that's been proven before. To running too cold on a long period of time has certain people's tests say you have 7 times more wear if the motor is running too cold. So you just want it to be where it was engineered to be in regards to heat. So I will be back. Let me know in the comments section, what would you do with this vehicle? Sell it, put in a complete new project, keep running it. What are your thoughts? What would be your modifications? Would you do any, or would you just work to make it as reliable as possible? I want to hear in the comments what you all think. Do you own a JDM car? Would you, knowing how much trouble it can be, would you consider getting a GDM car? Will you reconsider your GDM car for maybe something a little more newer and problem-free, like, a 2018 Mustang GT, for example? But I'd love to know, of the cars on the channel, which of the cars has interested you the most? The 2017 Shelby GT350, the Porsche 911, this Toyota MR2, or an unknown, the new trucks we keep driving, or Broncos. We've had a Maverick before. Let me know in the comment section what vehicle I could own that would interest you the most, and what could we do with it and show you that would be of most use to you. Thank you so much for watching. A really special thank you to the members that help make all this possible. If you want to help support the channel beyond just subscribing and hitting the like button, you can hit that join button and become a member. So again, huge thank you to the subscribers, and the biggest thank you possible to the members. Godspeed and God bless. I hope you get to put the pedal to the metal on a car that you love sometime real soon. And I must love this car, because despite all its faults, all the problems, and all the money this vehicle has cost me, I'm still really happy with it. Still enjoying it. Take care, folks. And these are the noises and lights. Now the PS light isn't coming on, which is for power steering. So we had power steering today, and that's about as high as it goes. But if it keeps going up when idling, then we definitely have a radiator issue. And now we've got this new noise. Who knows what that is? Some sort of noise, but a good test to know if it's the radiator. The radiator should be able to keep it cool enough when sitting, and that is too hot when sitting, and it seems like it continues to rise. So I think we're going to need a new radiator, or at least another radiator flush. at least flush it with the old radiator, because you don't want the rust. If your motor has sat, when you put in your new motor, your new used motor, if it's sat around for a while, it's gonna have rust in it and it's gonna get unleashed into the system, and that will cause overheating as well. So yeah, that keeps rising. This radiator is either dirty or needs to be replaced after 30-ish years.